Hey mate, how you doing? Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problems. Can you? Let's just get straight into it. Otherwise, we're gonna end up just talking over and
Yeah.
over, which is good, which could be fun content. But I think people want to listen to
Um,
who you are and what you did. So we're going to talk about Shea Creams, which is a commercial that we did together.
Yep.
So can you just introduce yourself, what you do, and then what you did on this project?
So I am Wouter Verheul, which is no one is going to be able to pronounce that name, but that's fine. I've been called.
Verheul.
So I'm a cinematographer or a director of photography or a camera person. You can call me many things. And we studied together at the National Film and Television School. Originally from the Netherlands, and I guess I do many things. I come from documentaries, so I used to shoot mainly documentaries, and now sort of more into commercials and narrative. Short films. Just did a kids drama for Dutch television, which was pretty nuts. It was about ADHD and stuff was exploding and stunts, but it was still like
Oh,
heartfelt drama for children. And now I'm working on a long form documentary, or just finished the first part, and now I'm going to Romania next week to shoot a start of a new episode. Yeah, like kind of everything,
tons
really.
of stuff. Tons of stuff.
Tons of stuff. I
Tons of
like all
stuff.
of it. I love shooting. I love being on set. I think that sort of like it doesn't really matter what the thing is that is being shot, as long as it's with people that I find inspiring, but also like the story is always key. So like, what's the narrative? Who are we filming? What are we filming? What is it about? Does it matter? Um, in the sense, does it matter to me? And then I think, then I like it, and I'll say yes, and
And I put you all into it.
put everything into it. Yeah,
Yeah.
if anything, too much, but you know.
We'll get into that. And then on this project, you were the DOP on the rich as a
Yes,
Shea Creams, the ritual,
yes,
which
yes.
was
This is
our first project that we did together. First of like
exciting.
four projects we've done together.
I have no idea. I think it wasn't enough projects, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, well, hey man, there's still time. There's still time.
no, I
Um,
think yeah, the Shea Creams was the first one. I think it was your tutor who put us in touch. I think I've said to him like, I want to shoot some crazy commercials, and he was like, oh, you got to meet Will, because he has some crazy ideas, and I think you guys will hit it off, which I think we did.
we
Um,
did. I remember the
uh,
first Zoom call when I sent you the treatment, which we'll get into in a bit, and you were like, "Fuck yeah, let's do it." Um,
yeah,
Firstly, though, I want to play, and we'll watch it together. I want to play the commercial just to give people watching, listening, an idea of what the hell we're going to be talking about, basically.
right. And that
Uh,
was how long ago? 5 years ago?
no,
4?
3 years ago, maybe. Oh yeah, no, I think yeah, 4 years ago. Oh man, that's
Uh,
crazy.
I feel
Oh
old
my
now.
God.
Yeah. One
Oh,
third of my career.
oh gosh. All right, here we go. The ritual Shea Creams.
Um,
Okay,
love
and
the
let me
guy.
know. Is
Oh,
that
the
shared?
next. Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Okay, cool. All right, and yeah, okay, cool. I'm just gonna play. For everybody.
Uh-huh. So inclusive they are. The share.
So inclusive, so inclusive. So yeah, so that's the commercial that we made together, our first job together, which was, as you say,
Yeah.
part of the National Film and Television School commercials course that I was commercials directing course that I was on. It was a
Yeah.
brief we had from Shea Creams. So I wanted the first question, I think it would be quite interesting to go into on like from your perspective. So on commercials generally anyway, so you have to submit your treatment to, the agency and or straight to the client. And on that director's treatment, there'll be, tone, style, like, how you see it, story, character, and all that kind of stuff. And on this, that's what I did. And I sent that through to you as a DP, like specifically on this one, but you can go into it more generally. Like, what do you then do? Like, once you've seen, you've met the director and you've read the treatment, what are you then doing?
We chat.
We chat.
We just chat. We chat like, I think, I don't remember the treatment you sent me. I mean, obviously it had like loads of visuals, but this thing was like very movement based.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I don't know. I don't remember exactly how it went back then, but generally with a treatment like this, I think we chat about like, okay, how do you see these movements? Like what way do we want to see it? Like, do we want to be, who's this character? Like, what is he going through? Like, how are we finding him at the beginning and how are we finding him at the end? Because that tells us about the transition that we need to film. Right. So like it's every story has like a tiny little transition, and a commercial is a story in 30 seconds. So I think that's where it starts for me, of like, okay, who is this character? What are they going through? And how do we see them at the end? And how is it with a commercial? How is the product involved in that? And how is what is the product doing to this character that is then giving them a change? So I guess, and then so that's just for me to understand, like, okay, what is it you want to get out of it? What is the thing that you're trying to do with it to then better inform whatever I'm going to offer as ideas or as workflows? And then hopefully at that stage you also talk about, look, what do you want the place to look like? What kind of feeling do you want to evoke? Like, is it high contrast, low contrast? Is it colorful? Like, what's the transition? Do you want moving lights or not? And then with dance in this case, and with movement, it's like, how does the camera move? And is it like do you see this handheld 33 FPS cool slow-mo stuff, or is it more like really particular, and do we want like specific moves for every moment and choreography? How does that work out? Like, how do you want to work in the choreography? It's just a chat about, like, I'm trying to understand what in this case you are trying to do with the project, and then how to
help that
help that come along within, budget.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
So I suppose what I'm getting from that is that your story is first. So you're going through and working out story and character stuff, and then coming up with questions to make sure you're on the same page as the director.
To make sure we both speak the same language.
And you try to make the same film, essentially.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's
like, I can have 1,000 different ideas, but I need to make sure that those ideas are funneled towards your end goal that you have envisioned. And obviously, you're trying to be an inspiration to someone as well. Like it's a team effort, and whenever you have an idea about something, and maybe that idea is not completely feasible within the money and the time, but maybe there's something else that you can do that might also fit the bill, and that hopefully is an inspiration to someone that either new ideas or, and I think with these particular school projects, like, you don't have a client there, which is a huge difference. It really changes because you can just make decisions on the fly and be like, oh, if we do this, we can do that, and so on and so on. And whereas with a normal client, when there's a client there, the moment I get involved, the treatment is fucking solid, and there's
nothing moves.
Nothing moves. Like, the shots that are there are solid. The only thing we do is make it into a moving storyboard.
Sure.
and make sure that we shoot the things we shoot, and maybe add like little shots here and there, or take some away.
Yeah.
Need, but everything else is.
No, for sure, it changes the game so much. It's so much. Yeah, it's it's good having clients on set sometimes, and then sometimes for something like this, we were much more free flowing because of that.
Yeah.
I want to go into like the camera movement then, because it obviously is it is a dance. And I remember it was like we had the dance of the main actor come in, and I think we had ideas of what we were going to do with the camera.
Yeah.
But they weren't really solid until we'd seen him, because we needed to know what moves he was going to do.
Yeah.
And we only actually found, we found him quite late, and we had a day with him the day before we were shooting, which was really helpful. And I think it was you and me, and we were kind of like, suppose I was trying to choreograph it with him, and then when you're in that situation, so say the situation is that me and him choreographing this move together, all these moves, what are you doing? You're just working out, okay, well, that would be cool, the camera going there, that would be cool, we should be on a dolly there.
Yeah, I think a commercial with a commercial, it's like the beauty with these kind of things, there is like, you're allowed to be cool with the camera. Like, you're allowed to do things for the sake of beauty, and not for the sake of, like, does it fit the story or whatever. I mean, yes, it has to fit the story and the emotion, but you are allowed to do things for the reason of cool, which is
the reason of cool. I like,
which is not necessarily like the case in many other short form projects. But I think in this particular, at the time, I think I was really into, there was a lot of stuff that was shot with like robotic arms and bolt stuff, and obviously we didn't have the money or the budget for that. So I think I was trying to sort of figure out a way to get those quick moves and stay with the character and stay with his emotion, and his experience of, like, I mean, because the story is quite simple. It's like, he's having a tough day, then he finds the cream, and he's like, fuck yeah, my life, so like I can put on all this cream and I will feel like a new man again, right? So you just need to make that moment look as cool as humanly possible, that you're like, the audience is thinking like, oh, if I put this stuff on my body, I will feel so much better. Right.
You want to reflect that with how it moves, how he moves, exactly. The camera moves.
So I think I was trying to figure out, like, okay, if he moves, and that, and then it gets, like, what I was trying to say with, like, stuff can be just cool if he moves his arm like that. That is a beautiful move to then come. It's all about, and also it's all about hands. So, like, oh, we start on his body and then he gets into it, so we can, like, track over to his hand and, like, go from a wider shot to a close up, make it super dynamic. And that just the only reason you're doing that is because it looks cool, right?
Yeah. But I think there's something. I'll play just the beginning of it, because after he finds the cream, because there is a moment exactly like you say, where we go, from these static shots that we've got at the beginning to then I think we're on a dolly.
We shot. So the thing was, with the bolt arm, it was like, we wanted a bolt arm, we couldn't get the bolt arm, so then you go to a dolly, which is the next best thing, a dolly and a slider, but they are physical things that are, like, motorized by humans. So they can't, they have, like, they don't move in a robotic way, or like, so you can't go as quick as possible.
Sure.
As a human moves, essentially. So there's a cancellation there.
Yeah, so I guess there's a kind of some kind of compromise in a way there. So, but I think this is a good, basically this. So we've got this beginning here.
Yeah, that
it's really subtle.
Well, the dolly,
that slider there that just, like, moves. There, it's like the first time the camera's moved as well, and it kind of sets us off into the.
Well, I think the shot was also, the original shot is a bit longer. It starts on space and la la la.
Yeah.
It's our lovely dancer. He came up with that move actually himself. He was like, you know what? I can actually, if I do this and then I have the cup here, I can, like, do a little flick. Yeah. And that was, like, a really nice starting shot. Like it, that's where you you start the whole sort of movement thing with the camera as well. It gives you a reason to get out of that static world and move with him as he is also doing it. So it is a cool shot, but at the same time, it all came from the idea of like, oh, how does this? How do we get out of the? How do we have a starting gun for the crazy stuff to start?
Like the transitions that you were talking about earlier.
And that is still coming from. I mean, it's still coming from the story. Like he has the story in his head, and he's like, oh well, I can do this, and then I build on top of that and be like, oh, if we move with him over here, and then end on the product. I think at that time you were also like trying to fit at least 3 product shots in there.
Yeah. I was so nervous about the product. I had to be like the product had to be in it. Yeah. Which actually I think it works quite nice because you got the one in it all like works for me for the story. You got him dipping and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think my only thing was just to be like, okay, you can have a product shot, but it has to be organic. Like I don't want to shoot the product.
Just like and then a cutaway of the product.
Yeah.
Another cutaway of the product. Yeah, I think I'd been freaked out like 2 days before about having not enough product shots in it. But yeah, you're right. It needs to fit in an organic way, and then obviously you've got the pack shot at the end anyway. But then I think in this, like you say, it's organic. It kind of works as a story. I think that's that shot there, and what you're talking about is a good segue into this other question I have for you, which is around, as the DP, how you see your creative role in terms of adding ideas into an already existing story. So, how do you add your stamp and creative flair onto something when it's not, when it's already been, before the shoot anyway, I've had the idea and written it and gone about how I wanted to shoot it and things. It's then how do you add on to that? Because I think best DPs, they do. You add something else on that the director wouldn't have thought
of. I think it depends. It depends a lot on the director and how you work together. It depends on the job, how much room there is to like come up with stuff. But generally, I'm definitely a DP that tries to like I don't know. I love doing crazy stuff and make stuff look good and working. I love filmmaking. So if I see something, I just get inherently inspired and be like, you know what? If we do this, then you can also la 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 la. And that doesn't always work. It doesn't always work for everyone. Like some directors just want someone who like does their thing and just lights it, And I can do that as well. And I think I definitely like you get better at like sort of feeling out when what is being asked of you. But I think with you, I felt quite early on, I felt like, oh, this guy is also still figuring it out. So we can figure it out together. And that is in all honesty, the ideal for me, because then you're making use of like the maximum of what I have to give. The only thing then for the other person is then to be like, oh, you know what? All sounds great. Thank you for the many ideas, but I'm just going to take this one and this one. Yeah, that's fine. Like that's your job, right? Like you can just pick what you can cherry pick, and you can like you're the captain of the vessel, telling us where to go, right? I'm just giving you 1,000 different routes.
Yeah. I remember my mentor saying this about he was doing this big TV show, and his DP was like he wanted so many ideas, and I remember the director coming up to me and saying, look, it's great working with him, and he's got so many ideas. I can't take all of them on, so I don't have time. Some of them are great as well. Some of them aren't so great, but you just got to cherry pick what works for you, what works for the story. And I think to have them offered up to you, means it sounds like you're invested then.
No, I think that's like you want to show that I don't know, it's about showing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just care about stuff too much. So I think that's my way of doing things. But I think generally, you you want to offer up things, but that's also why that first conversation is so important.
Sure, sure.
Just so you
Getting on
know
the same
what to
page.
offer up. Yeah.
Mm,
Like, what are you going to offer up? What actually fits the bill? Like
sure.
that is way more important than just, I mean, you can have a ton of ideas, but it is also important for any collaborator to sort of pre-filter, be like, you know what, this actually
Sure,
does
sure.
fit. And getting on the same wavelength in the beginning is really important to make sure that you can pre-filter in the right way.
Yeah. No, I think that's a
Um,
great point around, yeah, that first conversation, getting on the same page. I think it brings, I've got a penultimate question around, I just think this is quite useful and it's not talked about maybe enough on these kind of things, is the location and what are you, so we looked at quite a lot, quite a few locations.
yeah, they were all horrendous.
Yeah, yeah. Well, apart from the one we ended up shooting in, I'm wondering for you, I know what I was looking for, but then for you as a DP, when you're going into a location for something like this for the Shea Creams ad, what is it that you're looking for? Like on this, what were you looking for that was going to make the project, fly? Like
I mean,
as per our chat at the beginning about what I wanted to try and get out of it.
yeah, I think your references and the references I like sort of introduced after that to sort of compare and get into the nitty-gritty. I think all of them had quite a high contrast feel and like loads of color contrast. I mean, in the end result, there's a lot of greens and a lot of yellows, and those are being
Sure.
complemented. And we I had that in the back of my head. And then if you go and look at a location that is a fully white, shiny locker room, you're like, I
Nope.
mean, well, yeah, the thing is I can make that work, but it's never going to look like the thing you are actually after. So
Sure, sure.
at that time, my job is very much about advising and being like, I can do this, I can do that, but the implication of this choice would be this,
Right.
and
Yeah.
therefore it's going to look like XYZ.
Mm, mm.
I can't make something white look black. This is just
Yeah.
not the realm of physical.
There was that one particular changing room which had no windows and it was a square box.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
where this light going to come from, it's going to come from the top, and it's going to,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's square, and it's like it had no points of
No
interest,
depth.
no depth. I mean, this one we ended up with was really small, but it
Mm,
did have a window, and it did have non. It did have some interesting, bits of
sure.
there were pipes there, and there were like
Yeah, yeah. It
there
looked
were
like
like,
rustic in it,
yeah,
checking window. Yeah.
yeah,
I
and
think
there
we
was,
stumbled on it by accident almost, didn't we? Because we were looking around and we got really depressed because we couldn't find anywhere. And then it was like the room off to the side of the main soundstage or something, wasn't it?
yeah, and it's like a dressing room or something.
Yeah.
And obviously it does take more work to then make that dressing room.
Yeah.
Like in an ideal world, you find something that is like 80% there, and you just add little bits and props on top. But in this
Sure.
particular case, like why it looks the way it does is because we had control over the location.
Hmm.
And but I think definitely with low budget stuff, or when there's a time crunch, like never skim out on the location. The location is everything.
Sure.
Like
Sure.
for look purposes, obviously, like
Yeah.
like how something will look is 100% based on how shit or good your location is.
Yeah. I
Um,
did something recently and it was all because I had £150 for the production design budget and it was all in the location. So we only
yeah,
needed that much, in the end. So you're
yeah,
so right. Yeah.
yeah.
Location,
But either
location.
either you find something that is already good, or you find something that has a good foundation to become something interesting. And I think we
Yeah.
we we we, we had a really great production designer on this, uh,
Cookie.
Cookie, who found the lookers and who had like
She
all
did,
the
she made
details.
as well, right? Because it was
Yeah,
really,
and
really great.
and
Like a
she had
day.
like these fluorescent
Yes. Tube at the back.
fluorescent things that she like put up, so
Yeah.
I could have like a reason for the light to be there and to make it look all naturalistic and stuff. Well, heightened.
Mm,
naturalistic, but have a reason for stuff to happen, I guess. And then
mm.
also because you're shooting, I was opting mainly for like trying to make it work inside the school, is because you have the logistics there, so you can have, you have the dolly there, you have all your lighting you need there.
Sure, sure.
And also we were shooting during really short days, so we only had like 6 hours of daylight that day.
Mm,
So I needed the last shots of that day were shot during the dark. It has to look like it's still day outside,
yeah,
which means bringing loads of stuff and lights, um, and having a big reflector, wide reflector, outside the window and that sort of stuff. And if you if you are in a place that has that logistics sorted out, it makes that you can use your time and your budget for the things that are more important, like production design.
yeah. What helps you, do your best work from a director?
I think it's trust. It's very important for me personally. Like
Mm,
I'm just, we're all just like little crazy, silly animals that need positive affirmation to do our best work. That's just how, and I am particularly needy of that. I just need a little pat on my shoulder that says like, yeah, that's working for me, or that's not working for me.
sure.
Um, Really, in that sense, clear communication, that helps me to do my best work, because it takes me out of my, like, all the distraction of working with personalities, really um hinders good quality work, in my
Sure,
opinion. We've talked about this many times. Like, ego gets in the way of so many things. And my own ego, but everyone else's ego, and there's so many
sure, sure.
egos, and they all like,
Ego.
and they're all butting heads with each other. So I think when a director, um, when a director is giving me a lot of trust to be like, look, this is what I'm trying to achieve. These are the really clear and structured ideas that I have. Um, but here I want you to fill in these particular gaps, or this I want you to go crazy with. Like, it's giving. I think it's about giving me those really clear, sort of instructions, in that sense, of what they're trying to achieve. But that's not always possible, because sometimes they are also like between a million different things. So I think being empathetic to that, and
Sure.
trying to help them in that best possible way, um, will have the best result. But also, like, I think before, when I was starting out, I think I found it really frustrating that, you don't have control over everything, or some things don't always go the way that you either imagine it, or you plan it, or the budget's
Mm,
out there, and in the end of the day, like that, like being too distracted by that only hinders the quality of the work. So
yeah,
it's I think also giving yourself the time to like take a step back and be like, okay, what is actually important? What are the things that I can actually achieve, and what are the things that I'm just gonna have to leave up to chance? And obviously, with experience and with more time lighting and doing your job, you'll get more tools doing that, and you'll be more capable to be like, what, I don't have all the lights in the world, but I do have schedule. I can just shoot this at the start of the day when the sun is still over there.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can, I
Get
can,
smart with it.
I can maybe set the aperture to like to it being fucking dark, and change the color temperature, and making it look night that way, and then have one big ass light that all my money's going through, um, and doing that one, then doing a couple of different jobs. Well, but in short, what I'm trying to say is sort of like, you with experience um comes not only sort of the ease of thinking on your feet, but also thinking of like what is really important. Like what is you're almost like you're making a list in your head of like what am I trying to achieve? What is the most important thing of these things?
Mm.
And putting the money to the right places. And I know I sound like sort of a producer, but you know, like I get
You got to be a little bit as well,
you
right?
got to be a little bit like being a being a DOP. Unfortunately, is you're being a manager mostly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
only like the part that you're shooting and doing the lighting and stuff, and that is only 20% of the job. The
Sure.
rest of it is making sure that you get to that time on set
Yeah.
best best prep.
I'd say it's the thing that most people, like most heads of department, is a lot of management, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Amazing. Thank you so much.